guys, welcome back to the channel. Thank you for joining me for yet another Reddit video. Today it's going to be utter drama because we are on the Am I the A-hole subreddit. If you are not already familiar, Am I the A-hole is a subreddit in which people air their dirty laundry for all to see and for all to judge. And so that's what we're going to be doing today. We're going to have a look-see at some stories and decide who is the villain in these situations. So without any further nonsense, let's get into it. Starting off strong today with an absolutely insane sounding post, and this was posted by the user Ghetto Hippie 757, and it's titled, "Am I the a-hole for telling my neighbour she should check her husband and not me? I'm deep cleaning my house when my neighbour shows up at my doorstep. She introduces herself, which is fine since she's new to the neighbourhood, but then she drops a bombshell. She says that I make her feel uncomfortable. I'm taken aback since we've never spoken before and I've lived here for 13 years with no issue. When I ask her what I'm doing to make her uncomfortable, she says it's the way I dress while cleaning and her husband has been watching me from their window. I look down at my outfit, a sports bra and shorts, and ask her if that's what she's referring to. She confirms it. I'm confused and tell her maybe she should be concerned about her husband's behaviour and that I'm not bothering anyone in my own home. I suggest she should check her husband because that's weird behaviour. She gets mad and wants to cause a scene. Am I the a-hole? Does anyone else find the situation weird? I should add that I do have curtains blocking most of my windows, but I like a small gap for natural light, which is how I think her husband has been seeing me. Update, I've notified some of my neighbour friends about the situation, so everyone is pretty much on guard, and my husband will be home this weekend. I've made a police report and reached out to their landlord, and all is calm for now. She did approach another neighbour about me and how I was rude to her, but I've yet to even see her husband other than when he's getting in the car. But I see her constantly and she's always staring. Thank you everyone for the advice, I truly appreciate it. You know, I really cannot stand women like the OP's neighbour in this situation. The type of women where their husbands or just their partners in general are constantly thirsting over other women and then they blame that woman like it's her fault just because she exists. And I think in this situation, OP was a lot nicer than a lot of people would be because she's just minding her own business. This woman comes over and she's like, "Oh, you make me uncomfortable because my husband fancies you and he's been staring at you through your windows." I would have told her to take a hike. I'd be like, "Get off my property, you weirdo." But OP seemed to handle this like fairly polite. And I mean, I don't know like how this conversation went down, but it sounds like she didn't really say anything that bad to her. But you know, OP's asking like if they're the a-hole in this situation because they said they should check their husband. And honestly no, because they're not wrong. Their husband is exhibiting really creepy behaviour. It's borderline predatory to just be staring at someone for a small gap in their curtains. And I think OP being like you should check your husband is quite a reasonable response. So in my opinion, OP is definitely not the a-hole. And after I've read through the comments, they seem to be very like widely in the "you are not the a-hole." Everyone seems to agree that OP is not in the wrong here and that, you know, the husband and that wife are in the wrong, saying like, "He's a creep, you did the right thing, you said the right thing and you should alert others in the neighbourhood of this behaviour to get ahead of the narrative." Anyways, moving on from that, we've got another post from C Neighbourhood 6638, and this one is titled, "Am I the a-hole for making a dairy-free cake with eggs? My friend invited me over for dinner. Our tradition is to bring food when invited to dinner. I asked if I should bring a dessert. She said that would be great, but it needs to be dairy-free because her daughter stopped eating dairy. I know a great cake recipe with no dairy. I brought it to dinner and it was a big hit. My friend asked for the recipe and I told her. When I got to eggs, her daughter became upset and ran upstairs. My friend asked why I put eggs in the cake. I said eggs were responsible for the spongy texture. She said the cake wasn't dairy-free. I said it was. There was no milk or milk products in the cake, no cheese, no butter, etc. My friend said eggs are dairy. I was confused. Dairy is milk and milk products to my understanding. She said dairy is anything that comes from an animal. I asked her if honey is dairy then. She said no, because bees are insects. I apologised, but I could tell she's still upset. Am I the a-hole? I've never heard of eggs being dairy before." No, OP, you're not the a-hole. These people are just dumb as hell. Literally, if they wanted it to have no animal products in it, then they should have said no animal products, but they said no dairy products. And I find it weird that like they're restraining from eating a certain type of food and they don't even know what that type of food is, because eggs aren't a dairy product. As far as I'm concerned, they're a poultry product, and they're also like an animal product. So if they wanted no animal products, then they should have said that, but they didn't. You just followed instructions you were given. It's not your fault that they didn't give you the correct instructions based on what they wanted. This to me comes across as like a classic case of people not being able to own their own mistakes. I'm sort of getting the vibe that the mother of that daughter got it wrong, that maybe her daughter is a vegan, but the mom made a mistake and now she's going on the defense so she can blame OP instead of herself for that mistake. But regardless, OP, that's still not your problem and it's not your responsibility. Like I literally just said, you were given instructions and you followed them. It's not your fault, like, that this happened. The comments are heavily not the a-hole and all, like, leaning towards OP's side of the story here, saying that the friend is an absolute idiot, that they're not even correct on, like, their definition of animal products anyway, saying that it's not OP's fault, they didn't understand specifically what they meant. I mean, yeah, OP's not a mind reader. If it was that specific, he should have said, and that's, you know, loosely what the comments are saying. Okay, now we've got one that sounds like it might be quite controversial. This was posted by NextSpot4617 and it's titled, "Am I the a-hole for telling my partner's son that I don't owe him anything? I've been dating Mark for 3 years. He has a 19-year-old son, Ethan, and I have a 15-year-old daughter, Lily. Mark moved in with us about a year ago. Ethan blames me for his parents' divorce, even though they split a year before I met Mark. From the start, he's been cruel, calling me names, even vandalising my car with his friends a couple years back. After Mark moved in, Ethan's behaviour got worse. I nearly ended things, but instead I encouraged Mark to take Ethan on a solo trip to talk and set boundaries. When they got back, Ethan calmly told me, 'You're not my family. You never will be. I'll be civil, but don't expect anything from me.' Then he walked out. Since then, he's had no relationship with me or my daughter. He visits sometimes, but won't speak to either of us. Now I'm planning a Florida trip for Mark, Lily and me. Mark suggested inviting Ethan. I said he's welcome, but only if he or Mark wants to pay for his flight. Ethan doesn't work and Mark can't afford it. When Ethan heard this, he said I should pay if I want to fix things. I reminded him of his own words last year and told him, I owe you nothing. You or your dad can pay if you want to come. Now I'm being called petty and told I'm the adult who needs to make the effort, but I feel like respect goes both ways. Am I the a-hole? Okay. One, what does he mean if you want to fix things? Because from what you've told us, you've done absolutely nothing to him, OP. He was the one who started the drama. He was the one who's had a problem with you since, like, he's known you. He's the one who's been rude. I mean, he's literally vandalised your car. What do you mean you have to pay to fix things? And secondly, he's an adult too. Like, what do you mean, like, you're an adult who needs to make the effort? He's 19 in this story, right? And that also makes him an adult. Granted, he's young, but I don't know why you have to be more adult than him when he's the one who's wronged you constantly. I'm gonna say that OP's not the a-hole in this situation. Oh, okay, these top comments make quite a point. I'm just gonna read them out for you guys. And Redditor says, is Mark even worth the relationship? Not the a-hole, but I would be rethinking this relationship. Respect goes both ways, and Ethan's made it clear that he doesn't respect you, he's just tolerating you, and now he wants a free trip from you. To which another Redditor replies, of course he wants a free trip, his father's getting a free ride, the apple doesn't fall far from the tree. I blame the boyfriend here, and hope OP will see through all the chaos soon. The boyfriend doesn't care about his son, as he should be guiding him correctly and isn't. I'd say he only cares about himself. To which another Redditor then replies saying, right, I'm sure curious to know how much Mark is contributing towards rent and other bills after he moved in with OP and her daughter. you know, I didn't even like really think about it until these comments pointed it out, but it does seem like Mark moved really quick with OP. I mean, it's stated that they've been together for 3 years and they're already living together, and I think that's not necessarily bad, but they've both got children, and I feel like when you've got kids you have to take things slower, and just moving him in, and clearly he doesn't earn a lot because he can't afford the plane ticket for his own son, and you know, I'm getting the sense that Mark in this situation has not done a fat lot to actually control his son's behaviour and get him to treat his partner with respect as he should be doing. And he's just letting Ethan walk all over the OP and be horrible to her. And I don't know if OP just like left it out of the post, but like what did he do when Ethan literally vandalised OP's car? A good father would have done something, and he's still bringing him around even though he's behaving like borderline violently towards OP. And I think OP does need to sit down and go, hold on a minute, is this relationship actually as good as I'm thinking it is? Another commenter makes a really good point. They say as soon as the son gets what he wants, he'll go back to the way things are now. There's no fixing things, he just wants a free trip, and if OP says anything, they'll tell her that she can't force these things. And I think they're spot on with that. He's probably going to be all nicey nice and civil so he can get this free trip. He's obviously expecting OP to pay for it, but then the moment he gets what he wants, like, he's just probably going to be horrible to her again. You know, his track record doesn't lie. And someone else replies to that comment and they say, you know, Ethan will make sure everyone has a horrible time on that trip. He's 19 and OP doesn't owe him anything. Shame on Mark for not teaching his son a bit of respect. And honestly, yeah, shame on Mark, because you know what they say, like, you know, how you act, you're a factor of your environment, and the way the son acts, it kind of, to some degree, shows some bad parenting, because if Mark had stepped up and taught his son right, he wouldn't be acting like that, especially like towards someone who's not family, but they're like extended family to a certain level. And the least you can do is give them basic human respect, and he clearly doesn't even know how to do that. So I think Mark really should have stepped up a long time ago. And another person then responds to that comment and they say, as soon as they get to the airport, he's going to be a demanding swear word. I don't know if I can say that on here. After all, what is OP going to do? Cancel the flight? She's stuck. And when they get there, who's paying for the meals and rental cars and activities and going to bed when a 19-year-old wants to stay up and go out, banging back in at 3 a.m? What's OP gonna do? Send him home? OP will be held hostage on her vacation. And yeah, that's another really good point, because clearly, like, Mark can't afford that because he couldn't even afford a plane ticket, so it's going to be OP funding this guy's trip, funding his son's trip, his son who's an absolute plonker of an individual, and OP's going to have a horrible time. And also, like, the daughter's probably not going to feel very safe around this guy either, and I think OP needs to consider that, because if he's doing all that to her as a grown adult, what's he doing to a 15-year-old girl? I think that OP just needs to tell him, like, no, you ain't coming, no matter what, because I don't think he deserves to come on this trip, quite frankly. But regardless, the majority of these comments are in OP's favour and saying that she's not the a-hole and she's completely valid in her choices. I'll move on to the next post just in a moment, but before I do, I'd like to take this moment to remind everyone, if you've been watching up until this point in the video, please leave a like and maybe a comment on this video, and please subscribe. I'm a growing channel, so every interaction with these videos really helps. Let's get back to the stories. Our next story of this video has been posted by user justindividual3749 and it's titled, Am I the a-hole for telling my friend she has to pay double if she wants to pay for 2 people? Here's the story. Basically, my friend, let's call her Ashley, and I are going on a trip with 3 other people, Jess, Emily and Sam. Ashley and I were discussing what the costs of splitting up prices were going to be like for the hotel. I booked our hotel, and since there's 5 of us going, I told her it's going to be split into 5. Well, Ashley says she's paying for her friend Jess and wants it to be split into 4 because even though Jess is going, Ashley is going to be paying for both and her friend isn't paying her back for it. I personally don't think that's fair to me, Emily or Sam. Ashley is choosing to pay for her friend's hotel part. The way I see it, splitting it into 4 only benefits Ashley and Jess, just because she doesn't have to pay a penny. Not me, Emily or Sam, because we'd be paying more than we should just because Ashley is paying for 2. But she's combining 2 into 1 because that's just her paying. If this is confusing, here's a mini breakdown of fake prices. Total of hotel, $100, 5 people, 5 payments, $20 each. How Ashley wants to do it, 5 people, 4 payments, $25 each. Because she's paying for 2 people, including herself, but she's only counting them as 1, that would mean me, Emily and Sam have to pay more than we're supposed to owe. I don't think this is right. The way she wants to do it makes it where Sam, Emily and I are also paying for Jess's part, not just Ashley. I'm pretty sure Ashley is upset with me because I told her it needs to be split into 5 to make it fair to everyone else, and she's not really been talking to me, so am I the a-hole? I don't think that OP's the a-hole in this situation. They literally said it themselves because of Ashley's choice to pay for Jess. When Jess isn't contributing anything towards the hotel costs, you're all then paying for her, when it was just Ashley who made that conscious choice to pay her part, but what she's doing means you'd all be paying for someone who's not paying anything. And OP's right, that isn't fair, so I don't blame them for being no, it has to be split into 5. And I think OP, you need to stand firm on that decision. Do not let Ashley walk all over you in this, and keep it the 5 payments, because you shouldn't have to pay even £1 more than you were planning to just because she's made things more complicated. Okay, so it appears that the comments are siding with OP in this situation. There is an update to this post, but we'll go ahead and read that in a second because I just want to read a couple comments first. The top comment on this post is a simple, not the a-hole, Ashley's either an idiot or trying to pull a fast one. And now, I don't want to be a negative Nancy or anything, but I get the feeling that, this isn't just stupidity, this is calculated, they know what they're doing. I think it's much more likely that Ashley in the situation is just trying to get away with paying less money than necessary, especially since if OP's explained to them, well no, because then we're getting done in by this, we've got to pay more than necessary, and she's still oh but let's do this so it's fair, even though it's quite obviously not fair. I think that tells you everything you need to know about Ashley. She's definitely trying to do one over OP. A rather clever commenter points out, not the a-hole, that isn't what paying for someone means. If Ashley wants it split 4 ways, then she isn't paying for Jess. She's expecting Jess's trip to be jointly funded by all of you. If she's paying for Jess, then the amount should be split by person, and she picks up hers and Jess's portion. Yeah, that is literally the point that I was trying to make earlier as well. The whole split it 4 ways is just everyone else paying for Jess, which I think what that commenter said literally just solidifies it in my mind that OP's not in the wrong in this situation. But now, as I said, there is an update to this post, so let's go over and have a look at that and see if there's any type of conclusion to this, or if it only got worse. First of all, I want to thank everyone who responded and for the tips. I made this post to make sure I was thinking correctly, even though I truly couldn't make sense into what Ashley wanted to do, but I mainly posted it because my friend wasn't talking to me, so I thought that I might have been the a-hole. Putting out there that everyone going on this trip are young adults ranging from 18 to 22, Ashley and I are 21. I also noticed a lot of people misunderstood my post, so I'm going to clarify a few things. Jess was going on this trip whether Ashley pays for hers or if she pays for it herself. She was always going to come and is an original member of the group that's going. I had just gotten the news that Ashley is deciding to pay for her share of the hotel, but Jess isn't paying Ashley back, so I think Ashley got confused because since there's only 4 people paying, she thought that the bill should be split into 4, but that's not how the bill should be split up. It should be split up by how many people are staying, not paying. Because Ashley is choosing to pay for Jess, she doesn't have to do that. The prices I used in my post were fake prices to make it simpler to explain. The actual cost of the hotel was way more than the examples I used. Something I forgot to mention is that Ashley and I have never had an issue splitting up bills before, so I thought this was extra weird of her to try to pull. We just never had this problem before. Also, a lot of you were saying this will be a continuous problem during the trip, like for food or anything else, but whenever we've been on trips before and ordering food or whatever, we usually do orders separately, so that shouldn't be a problem during this trip. Another thing I didn't mention in this original post was that the hotel room states it sleeps 6 people. There's 2 full-size beds and a sofa bed. I don't know if that's really important, but a lot of people were asking. Jess and Ashley would be sharing a bed, and most likely me and Emily will share a bed because Sam made it very clear she wants the sofa bed law. But I do not think it should be split up by beds or sleeping arrangements because we're all sharing the same space. Also, something that I didn't mention was Ashley said that she was paying for Jess's hotel part and that anything else was coming out of Jess's pocket. Now for the actual update. I've talked to both Sam and Emily about it and both agree it should be split 5 ways, and if one person wants to pay for another person then they should have to pay double. Neither of them are comfortable paying the extra because they don't know Jess very well, if at all. I also tried to explain to Ashley with examples like, if I'm paying for Sam and Emily then it would be split up into 2, and if you're paying more for just 2 people than I am for 3, and then explained to her that it just wouldn't be fair if I did that to her. I also emphasised with the way that she wanted to do it. Makes it where everyone is paying for Jess's share, not just her. I was not going to back down until she got it. And she finally says that makes sense now and apologised. I mean, I'm happy she's finally understanding how it's not fair to do it her way, but it's still very annoying that I had to use an Uno reverse card and use her logic against her to make her understand. It should have made sense from the very beginning, but it's whatever. I'm hoping this whole situation won't make the trip any awkward, but it's still 2 months away, and so hopefully everything will die down and we'll have a blast. If anything else crazy happens, I'll be sure to update you guys. Thanks again for all the replies and support. Bloody hell, that was like talking to a brick wall, wasn't it? I mean, I can't imagine being in OP's place. I would not have the patience to explain it so many times to someone like Ashley. I probably would have had a meltdown long before getting to the point, but luckily it seems like things came to a good conclusion. They finally got it after what felt like years and years of explaining it to them. I do get what OP says though, it's kind of annoying. She had to do like a whole type of Uno reverse type thing just to get her to understand, but we shouldn't complain. Things worked out, we should just take that at face value, and I do hope that OP's trip goes well and there's no more issues like this. Well guys, after that absolute headache, I fear that's all I've got the time and the mental capacity for today, so I'm going to end this video here. If you've made it this far in the video, huge thank you to you. Please leave a like, maybe a comment, and subscribe to this channel. Thank you so much, and I'll see you next time. Bye bye.